Either you got to know everything or adhere to the God who does know all things.
First of all, what's wrong with appealing to absurdity?
Well, that leads us to the next question, the reality of what's happening out there. So, I mean, all you gentlemen have been out with me in the open air. What do you gentlemen see as you go out with GGM teams on the streets of your city? I mean, what are you guys seeing out there? I know it's an open-ended question, but just kind of share your hearts. What do you see? Wes?
Yeah, so when we've been able to go out with you, and we actually have a local church that we're starting to partner with as well. We have seen a good response, and I know one of the things that when we've prayed, that God will bring about divine appointments, and that's always happened. God has brought somebody there who will stop and listen and talk, and that you can share the gospel with, and prayerfully, pray for them to repent and believe, and you recognize that's God's work, and He'll bring that in His time. But we've seen multiple opportunities to be able to share the gospel, sometimes even to clarify the gospel. Talking to a guy on Saturday, his name is Mark, and Roman Catholic, and I was like, well, I always start with some question like, how do you have peace with God? And he's like, I don't know. I believe in God, but and it just led me to be able to explain that Christ is our mediator. He's the one that mediates between us and God, and He's the one who reconciles us to Him, and who bore Himself God's wrath, and who brings to us full acceptance in Christ. And he walked away thinking, wow, I just never saw it that way before. And I was able to, he had to keep going, so I gave him my card. But that context just enabled that, I mean, he's just a guy passing by on the street, and we had a, 5-minute, 10-minute conversation that he didn't feel, I mean, it was great.
So you're seeing fruitful conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I really appreciate in my time that I've spent with you and the guys on your team is just the commitment to prayer on the front end. So as soon as you land in the city, and even way before I know, you're praying for our city, you're praying for our church, you're praying for these opportunities when we are going out to share. Right before we're going out, once you arrive, we're praying, and just really committing it to the Lord. So as Wes was saying about divine appointments, we're just believing the Spirit is going to be at work, and looking for those people that maybe they did pause, or maybe they are just kind of in shock of what's going on, and then to have those kind of side bar conversations while the word is going forth, to say, hey, what do you think about that? Have you ever heard that before? What do you have any kind of spirit? And then on we go. So I think just providing that context is really helpful. And one of the things, even with a couple of our summer interns that went out with you guys a couple of summers ago, they were really, some of them were just learning to share their faith, but to have some of those kind of almost put into your lap opportunities because of the open air proclamation really gave them some confidence. So that's another thing that we've seen in Boston.
Praise God. Anthony?
Yeah, so at Mercy Hill, we really focus on the fact that it's the gospel that transforms lives and then brings us into community. But the gospel is good news to be proclaimed. But it's not just good news that you would read in a newspaper or even hear in a conversation. It's good news that's also a spectacle to be seen. And that's the visible church. And so for us to be able to go out together with you, to be able to not only proclaim the gospel, good news to be proclaimed, it's also something to be seen as you have people around you that are engaging and interacting with people that are coming by. As we engage and interact in our culture, we're able to, in these particular venues, we're able to understand our culture a little more. the worldviews. We talk about it being a pluralistic society. We talk about it being secular and even post-Christian. I personally thought Phoenix was a lot more secular than what it is, but come to find out it's more post-Christian, at least at the venues that we're at, because some people have a working knowledge of an experience of being in church, whether it was through grandparents or their own parents, or they just maybe had some negative experience at a local church and then just had a distaste for it. That comes out to light when they're engaging in a hostile kind of environment. They're very hostile toward the gospel, but they're interacting and engaging with some type of framework, some type of understanding of the Bible, of God, maybe the term gospel, but don't really understand all that it means for us. So that provides opportunity for us to critique our culture, critique certain worldviews, and then to energize it. And in the way that we interact and engage with the gospel, that's not just something to be proclaimed, but as a spectacle to be seen. We're there because we love our great city and we want to speak into it.
Well, that's good, guys.